Hello guys, this is Jyoti Rana. Welcome to my channel Biology Endeavors. Today we will learn about the structure of eukaryotic cell. So let's start. Eukaryotic cells. The eukaryotes include all the protists, plant, animals and fungi. In eukaryotic cells, there is an extensive compartmentalization of cytoplasm through the presence of membrane-bound organelles. What does it mean? It means a cytoplasm have different compartments. These compartments are membrane-bound organelles, and these organelles are separate with each other according to their function, according to their shape. Plant and animal cells are different as the former possess cell wall, plastid, and a large central vacuole, which are absent in animal cells. On the other hand, animal cells have centriole, which are absent in almost all the plant cells. There is a difference between the plant and animal cell. Plant cell have cell wall, plastid, and vacuole. On the other hand, animal cells have centrioles, and these are absent in almost all the plant cells. Okay. Now, come to the next point, cell membrane. Cell membrane, the detailed structure of the membrane was studied only after the advent of the electron microscope in 1950s. Meanwhile, chemical studies on the cell membrane, especially in the human red blood cells, enabled the scientists to deduce the possible structure of the plasma membrane. An improved model of the structure of cell membrane was proposed by the Singer and Nicholson in 1972, widely accepted as fluid mosaic model. This is the model we will discuss about in the next slide. But before that, the general properties of the cell membrane to discuss. Mainly composed of lipids and proteins. Also possesses carbohydrates. The ratio of protein and lipids varies considerably in different cells. In human beings, the membrane of the erythrocyte has approximately 50% protein and 40% lipid. What are the erythrocytes? Erythrocytes, also known as RBCs. We can say that the plasma membrane of RBCs are composed by the 50% protein and 40% lipid. Lipids. Lipids are majorly phospholipids arranged in bilayer, polar head towards the outer side and non-polar hydrophobic tail towards the inner part. What it means? This is the structure of phospholipid. This is the polar head and non-polar tail. These are arranged in a bilayer like this. This is the structure of plasma membrane. Non-polar tails are hydrophobic. Hydrophobic means lipid lover. And this is the hydrophilic. What it means? Water loving. Also contain cholesterol. Cholesterol is also present in the cell membrane. Somewhere in the cell membrane. The next is proteins. Proteins, depending on the ease of extraction, membrane proteins can be classified as the integral and peripheral proteins. Peripheral proteins lie on the surface of the membrane, while integral proteins are partially or totally buried in the membrane. Like this. These are phospholipids present as in the bilayer structure, in which these are the proteins. This is the integral protein. As integral protein are partially or buried, totally buried in the membrane. ये partially और completely membrane में हो सकते हैं. Partially कैसे होंगे? Like this. And peripheral proteins, peripheral, lie on the surface of the membrane. These proteins are help in the transport of molecules. Now, discuss about the fluid mosaic model proposed by the Singer and Nicholson in 1972. According to the quasi-fluid nature of lipid, it means the fluidity of quasi-fluid nature, it means like the jelly. Quasi-fluid मतलब जेली की तरह होता है, थोड़ा फ्लूडी, थोड़ा सॉलिड टाइप्स. Enables lateral movement of the proteins within the overall bilayer. This ability to move within the membrane is measured as its fluidity. This fluidy nature gives the several advantages to the cell membrane. Come to the structure of cell membrane. These are the phospholipids. Non-polar part, polar part, polar head, and non-polar tail. This is the area of hydrophobic nature. एक एग्जाम्पल है, हमें पता है लाइक लिपिड क्या है? घी, oil, these are lipids. And water, when you mix oil and water, क्या होता है? वो सेपरेट ही रहते हैं, कभी मिक्स नहीं होते. सो इसका भी जो सेल मेम्ब्रेन है, इसका भी यही पर्पज है, ये जो दोनों जो सेल का नेचर है, एक्सटेंसिव और इंटेंसिव, ये दोनों को सेपरेट रखता है. सेल मेम्ब्रेन का यही काम है कि वो दोनों को एक्सटर्नल और इंटरनल जो उसका एनवायरनमेंट है उनको सेपरेट करके रखता है. दिस इज द मेन फंक्शन ऑफ दिस फॉस्फोलिपिड्स. ओके. Cholesterol is also present. These are glycoproteins, some of glycoproteins, glycolipids, oligosaccharides. Peripheral protein lie on the surface of the membrane. Integral proteins totally, completely in the membrane. Hydrophobic alpha helix. These are the structure of proteins. So next, advantages of the fluidic nature of cell membrane. These are, we can say, these are the function of cell membrane. But what are the advantages of fluidic nature? Because of fluidic nature, these all the functions are possible. Cell growth, formation of intracellular junctions, ये हम पढ़ेंगे आगे. Secretion, secrete करती है cell, different types of enzyme secrete करती है, प्रोटीन secrete करती है. एंडोसाइटो, सेल डिवीजन भी पॉसिबल है बिकॉज ऑफ फ्लूइडिक नेचर. Now, functions of the plasma membrane. Made This is the main function of the plasma membrane, transport of molecules. The membrane is selectively permeable to some molecules present on the either side. मेम्ब्रेन डिसाइड करेगी कि कौन सा मॉलिक्यूल अंदर जाएगा, कौन बाहर जाएगा. सो दैट इज called as selectively permeable. Different types of transport. Diffusion. Neutral solutes and water can move across the membrane along the concentration gradient. This type of process is known as diffusion. See, this is the plasma membrane. Sorry, this is the plasma membrane. External environment, internal environment. Some solutes are present here, some are here. Water molecule. So, what is the meaning of along the concentration gradient? It means molecules move from high concentration to low concentration. If solutes are in high concentration in the external uh, environment, then they come to the internal environment because of the low concentration in the internal side. So it is known as diffusion. When solutes and water molecules are moved across the plasma membrane through the concentration gradient, along the concentration gradient. Understand? Concentration. What is concentration gradient? Concentration gradients means हमने मान लिया सोल्यूट इधर ज्यादा है, इधर कम है. हमें पता है कोई भी चीज जहां ज्यादा होगी वहां से निकलने की कोशिश करेगी. अब जहां पे ऑलरेडी कम है वहां से वो क्यों आएंगे बाहर? So this is the concentration gradient. So in the diffusion, molecules move along the concentration gradient. It means from high concentration to low concentration. Next is facilitated diffusion. As the polar molecules cannot pass through the non-polar lipid bilayer, they require a carrier protein to the membrane to facilitate their transport across the membrane. अब इसका क्या मतलब है? Facilitated diffusion. This is the membrane. अब हमें पता है this is the non-polar area, hydrophobic area. So polar molecules cannot pass through this area, cannot pass the plasma membrane. For these molecules, some carrier proteins are present in the plasma membrane. These carrier proteins These polar molecules attach with these carrier proteins and move towards the inner side. कैसे? जैसे ही ये इसमें एंटर करेंगे इसकी कॉन्फ़िगरेशन चेंज हो जाएगी कैरियर प्रोटीन की and they remove out these polar molecules to inside. दोबारा बना देते हैं. Like this is the carrier protein. This is the polar molecule. These carrier proteins change their configuration and move inside the cell. And these molecules are removed from these carrier proteins inside the cell. Fine. The next is passive transport. Passive transport is like the diffusion. Molecules can move across the membrane without any requirement of energy. Molecules को move करने के लिए energy की requirement नहीं होती. This is the passive transport. Then is active transport. Ions and molecules are transported across the membrane against their concentration gradient. Concentration gradient, along their concentration gradient means high concentration to low. But जब concentration gradient low, molecules low concentration to high concentration move करेंगे, they require energy. these simple words, you know that from high concentration to low concentration, it is very easy to move. But from low concentration to high concentration, it requires energy, and this energy is ATP. Okay. So, ions in molecules are transported across the membrane against their concentration gradient, that is from low to high concentration. It is the energy dependent transport. Obviously हमें पता है जब हम अपने से ज़्यादा कुछ अपने लेवल से बड़ा कुछ करते हैं तो हमें एनर्जी चाहिए ही होती है. तो लो टू हाई में जाने के लिए उनको एक एनर्जी चाहिए. एंड द एग्जांपल इज सोडियम पोटेशियम. ये हम आगे डिस्कस करेंगे. Come to the next point is cell wall. Cell wall is present in plants, fungi, algae. एनिमल्स में एब्सेंट होती है. इन नॉन लिविंग रिजिड स्ट्रक्चर. रिजिड है तो प्रोटेक्ट करेगा, शेप देगा, मैकेनिकल डैमेज से प्रोटेक्ट करेगा, इन्फेक्शन से प्रोटेक्ट करेगा. एंड आउटर कवरिंग ऑफ प्लाज्मा मेम्ब्रेन. ये प्लाज्मा मेम्ब्रेन है, इसकी आउटर कवरिंग. दिस इज द सेल वॉल. Help in cell to cell interaction. How? Like plasmodesmata join two cell through the cell wall. Okay. So helps in cell to cell interaction. Provides barrier to undesirable macromolecules. Undesirable macromolecules enter नहीं कर सकते. Macromolecules are जिनका साइज ज्यादा हो, ज्यादा बड़ा साइज हो, वो सेल वॉल के थ्रू एंटर नहीं कर पाएंगे. Algae have cell wall made of cellulose, galactans, mannins, and minerals like calcium carbonate. While in plants, it consists of cellulose, hemicellulose, pectins, and proteins. This is the data you should remember. Algae cell wall किससे बनी है, plant की cell wall किससे बनी है. The cell wall of the young plant. The primary cell wall is capable of growth, which gradually diminishes as the cell matures, and secondary cell wall is formed on the inner side of the cell. This is the primary wall. जैसे जैसे ग्रोथ होगी, सेकेंडरी वॉल में कन्वर्ट हो जाएगी. दिस इज द मिडल लेमिला. Middle lamella. This one. Firstly, read this paragraph. The middle lamella is the layer mainly of calcium pectate. Remember this point, please. Middle lamella. This is very important and also previous year question, which holds and glue the different neighboring cells together. The cell wall and middle lamella may be traversed by the plasmodesmata, which connect the cytoplasm of the neighboring cell. This is the plasmodesmata. So, plasmodesmata help in the connection of the cytoplasm of two cells या फिर neighboring cells. So this is the structure of cell wall. यहाँ पे भी बना सकते हैं primary cell, secondary cell. This is the middle lamella. किसका बना होता है? कैल्शियम पैक्टेट का. प्लाज्मोडेस्माटा प्रेजेंट है. इसके थ्रू जो टू सेल्स हैं, दो सेल्स कनेक्ट हो सकती हैं. उनका साइटोप्लाज्म कनेक्ट है थ्रू दी प्लाज्मोडेस्माटा. Or nucleus, central vacuoles, these are the components of this cell, a eukaryotic cell. So, this is all about the structure of plasma membrane cell wall. In the next video, we will discuss about the different compartments, different organelles of the eukaryotic cell. So, till then, stay tuned. Please do subscribe, like, and share my channel. Thank you very much.